Refused. That word triggers a prior written notice, and federal law puts 7 required parts inside it. So what happens when Part 6 comes back blank? Keep that one warm. Part 6 is where a defensible team decision quietly becomes a compliance finding. And before we're done, I'll hand you the exact sentence that stops it.
Careful with the name. Prior written notice isn't the meeting invitation. Different regulation, different job.
Right. In the meeting episode, we sorted what's federal from what's your building's habit. This forms the other half because it's what makes the decision survive being read by somebody who wasn't in the room.
Look at the trigger, Kai, because it's wider than people think. 300.503 paragraph A says written notice must go to the parents a reasonable time before the agency proposes to initiate or change or refuses to initiate or change the identification, evaluation, or educational placement of the child or the provision of FAPE. Saying yes triggers it. Saying no triggers it just as hard.
Run the math. 2 actions, 4 subjects, 8 doorways into one form.
Here's what it doesn't say though. A reasonable time before. It never names a number of days. If somebody told you 10, that number's your states, not IDAs, so go read your own state's rules page, not a blog.
Nobody's born knowing which layer a number came from. I taught for 10 years with IEP students on my roster every single year, and I couldn't have told you which one that was. Here's the part that costs people. See above, attached. Not applicable. Those 3 answers are how a completely reasonable decision stops being provable.
Hang on, who's actually on the hook for writing this thing?
The agency signs it, Kai. But the content comes out of the room you were sitting in, all 7 parts. Still ahead, the 2 documents this one gets mistaken for, the part a reviewer opens first, and the sentence that keeps you out of trouble. Let me pause for just a second because this genuinely helps. If you're getting value here, hit that like button, then subscribe and ring the bell. It costs you nothing, and it is the single biggest thing that keeps these videos coming. Professor Sorensen's at the desk with us for this one. Let's take the list itself, all 7 in order.
Read it the way a reviewer reads it. Not one paragraph to compose 7 boxes, each of which has to say something.
7 contents, not 7 paragraphs of prose, 7 answers.
Start at the top. 1. The action proposed or refused. 2. Why the agency proposes or refuses it. 3. A description of each evaluation procedure, assessment, record, or report used as a basis. 4. A statement that the parents have safeguards protection. Plus, when this isn't an initial referral for evaluation, how to get a copy of that description. 5. Sources parents can contact for help. 6. Other options the IEP team considered and the reasons those options were rejected. And 7. Other relevant factors.
Almost. 7 is the count in paragraph B. Paragraph C adds requirements that aren't content at all. The notice must be written in language understandable to the general public and provided in the parent's native language, unless that's clearly not feasible.
So it's 7 plus a language rule, not 7, full stop.
3's the one people underestimate. Each evaluation procedure, assessment, record, or report used as a basis, I mean each. Not your summary afterward. The list of what the team actually had in.
Nobody keeps that list. By the time anyone writes it, it's October.
The regulation doesn't care when you write it. Used as a basis is what the team looked at, not what you reconstruct in October.
Fine, write it in the room. So watch what box 3's pointing at. 2 educators, 1 student, and the record they keep between them. Watch the rows fill in.
That's not a courtesy letter, Erica. That's evidence.
So the test isn't what sits in the file, it's what the decision rested on.
Wrong lane, though. Teachers get taught this thing arrives after the meeting.
Which meeting, though? The one where you proposed something, or the one where the parent asked and the district said no? 2 different notices.
The refusal. That's it.
So if a parent asks for an evaluation and the district says no, then
the notice is the one document that says why.
The one document, and that is the one people forget.
It also starts earlier than the IEP stage. The consent rule requires notice under both of those sections before the agency can ask to evaluate at all.
Hold that 7. Coming up, we come back to one of them, and it isn't the one you'd guess, which leaves the thing that trips every new teacher I've met. If this is the notice, what's the packet the front office already handed the parent? That packet's the procedural safeguards notice, a different document, a different section. It explains that prior written notice exists. It isn't one.
3 envelopes. Call them the invite, the rulebook, and the decision. Everybody confuses the last 2.
Take the invite first. 300.322 says the meeting notice must indicate the purpose, time, and location of the meeting and who will be in attendance. That's scheduling. It says nothing about what the team decided.
I printed all 3 this morning, and honestly, the way I used to explain the difference, forget the explanation. Look at what each one's for.
The rulebook's 300.504, the procedural safeguards notice. It goes out once a school year, then again on initial referral, on a parent request for evaluation, on the year's first complaints, under the discipline procedures, and any time a parent asks. Here's the part that catches people. Paragraph says it must fully explain the safeguards, and prior written notice is item 2 on its own list.
So the packet describes the notice. It isn't the notice.
Erica, if you handed a parent that packet on the way out and thought the decision was
Documented. It wasn't. You handed them the rules of the game, not the score.
If you handed a parent that packet and thought the decision was documented, it's still sitting in somebody's memory of a Thursday afternoon. That's the one I said we'd come back to. And the third envelope isn't even the same law. I want to say Section 504 just says notice, but I don't trust my memory here. Erica, pull the page.
Straight off Section 504's own regulation, 34 CFR 104.36, quote, a system of procedural safeguards that includes notice, an opportunity for the parents or guardian of the person to examine relevant records, an impartial hearing with opportunity for participation by the person's parents or guardian and representation by counsel, and a review procedure. One word for notice, no list of contents.
Hold one thing from this scene. Don't run one law's form for the other laws.
Careful, Kai. That sentence calls IDA safeguards one means of meeting it.
One means, not the same means. A district can satisfy 504 through IDA's system, but it doesn't run backwards. A 504 plan doesn't inherit the 7.
Hold on, why is it even called prior written notice? Prior to what, exactly? That's what I chase at 1 in the morning instead of finishing the documentary I put on.
Prior to the change. The regulation says a reasonable time before the agency acts, not after the fact, before.
Anyway, still 7 parts, still before. Say it with me, before.
So far, we've only sorted the paperwork. The next few minutes are where teams lose the record they thought they had. Professor Sorensen's back with us for this one. He's already found you 2 of these, and he isn't done. 6th requirement, go.
Other options the IEP team considered, and the reasons those options were rejected.
2 halves. See above answers neither one.
6 asks about the roads not taken. That's a different kind of writing from the rest of the list.
You're right, the team discussed it, but discussion isn't the record. So what does the sentence look like?
Read it off the department's own page. Quote, a description of other options that the IEP team considered and the reasons why those options were rejected.
And the reason it comes back blank is that writing down what you turned down feels like handing somebody.
Stop right there. That's my lane, and it's backwards. A rejected option with a reason beside it is a defensible decision. A blank line is an unexplained one. 6 of the 7, and the one you left out is the one a reviewer opens first.
Here's where the paperwork stops being paperwork. A procedure gap isn't automatically a denial of FAPE.
3 prongs. 300.513, paragraph A2.
Impeded the child's right to FAPE, significantly impeded the parent's opportunity to participate, or caused a deprivation of educational benefit.
Any one of the 3 is enough, not all 3.
And if none of the 3 is met, here's the ruling. Paragraph A3 still lets the hearing officer order the district to comply. Not a FAPE denial isn't the same as no consequence.
Which means the meeting is where those reasons still exist in full. An hour later, they're already shorter.
Every option argued in that room is real. None of it is on the record until somebody types it.
So type it there. That's the version box 6 is supposed to preserve.
Professor Sorensen, the sharpest thing you gave us is that a gap isn't automatically a denial. Thank you for that.
It still costs you the meeting either way.
6 is where a decision earns its keep.
Or doesn't.
Different problem entirely now, not the reading, the writing.
So here's the sentence I promised you up top. The template I used to hand out, forget the template. Write it while the option's still on the table. The team considered this, rejected it because of that, based on this data. Option, reason, basis. One clean step.
Where does the see above habit come from, though? It isn't laziness. It has a legal home. 300.320, paragraph D, is a construction clause. Nothing in that section requires the IEP team to repeat information under one component of a child's IEP that's already under another component. That permission is written about the IEP.
But the notice isn't a component of the IEP. Different document, different section, different reader.
Different reader is the whole point. Nobody reads it holding the IEP.
So here's what I'd actually do, and I'll defend it. Say it out loud in the meeting. When the team turns something down, somebody says, write down what we just
rejected and why.
And what we were looking at when we rejected it. 3 parts, Erica, not 2. And the third is where box 3 and box 6 hold hands. It costs you a minute you don't have, and I'd still spend it. I grow tomatoes that actually ripen now, and that took 4 seasons of writing down what didn't work. The rejected row is the useful row.
One case isn't a judgment call. If a parent revokes consent in writing, paragraph B4I of the consent rule says the agency must provide prior written notice before it stops providing special education and related services.
That's the unlock. Miss it and the rule runs at you. The record you didn't write is the record somebody else reads back.
Next time, paraprofessionals, what a para can legally do in your room and what the teacher still owns when somebody else delivers the service.
2 things to keep. 7 required contents at 300.503 paragraph B. And paragraph B6 is 2 halves, the option and the reason. The 1 line to keep. No reason on paper, no decision on record. If you know somebody who writes these on a Friday afternoon, send them this one. And if it made your next notice easier to write, like the video and subscribe. 1 more out of the 3rd envelope. What option did your team reject last week, and did anybody write down why? None of this is instinct, and you're not behind for looking it up. Learn it once and it stays with you. See you next time.